Yeah. You didn't even count. I didn't even count us down. You didn't even give me the opportunity to say it real loud.
I wanted to save your enthusiasm for right now.
Yes, and now you have it.
Episode 354.
Yes.
Sarah,
yes.
welcome. And a special guest today, Bo.
Bo,
the dog,
she is here.
Has joined us. My cat is not happy.
Not happy. In fact, I have never actually seen a cat get into full
Halloween
All Hallows Eve pose.
Hallows Eve.
Yes. And this cat did it.
Back,
hair sticking straight
up.
up. I always thought that the cartoons were like almost like a caricature of it. It's not.
Accurate.
That's accurate.
And she's got black fur, so
it's very dramatic. Oh, bless you.
Excuse
That's
me.
cute. Not allergic to dogs, though,
okay,
so it's not Bo's fault.
I've been dying to tell you this. So we went the other day to the Casey Musgrave show. It was super fun. And I keep replaying it because Sarah was in rare form and being so funny the whole night.
I don't even know why.
Like, there was points during the show where I was doubled over with laughter. And one of the times that happened was because I was getting annoyed with some girls there, which always happens.
Correct.
That's just who I am. Mm-hmm. And Sarah was like rallying with me and being like, yeah, they're the worst. Also, who's tooting? And like, I died because I smelled it too, but like, I thought maybe it was Sarah.
Nope. I will definitely be like, excuse me,
sure,
I'm sorry.
if there was a situation.
You know, I don't want people to go, I don't want there to be a mystery. Nobody likes that. The uncomfortable, like,
who done it?
Who done it?
Right.
And I don't want anybody to be getting blamed for it when it was me.
If it were you.
So I take the heat.
I keep reflecting on it and trying to figure out like why it was so funny to me, apart from just that you just announced it and you're so funny naturally. But I want to work on a bit, I think, because here's what I discovered about myself, and I think everyone.
Yeah.
When there is a whodunit regarding farting, you are at your most prejudiced.
Yes.
You look around and you think, who did it?
Who looks like a farter?
Yes, who's the farter?
Yes, that's what I did.
And you think, men.
I blame the boyfriend who's right behind me.
Me too.
All of this is true. This is so true.
And unfortunately, I think like if you're bigger, people think maybe you are the farter.
Yeah. Based on just diet alone.
Right?
Chances are good.
You don't have a lot to go on. All you're going on is the fact that this is a person who will fart in public and it stinks.
Correct.
And so the suspects become your own biases.
This is so true.
Are informing
this
who
is
you
great.
think did
this
it.
is a definite bit. You need to get back out there.
Thanks.
Because this is good.
Because nobody thinks it's us.
No.
Even if it were us.
Correct. Which is maybe why I announced that it is me. Sorry, that was me. Because I know none of you are thinking that it is.
That's very generous of you.
Only to like friends. I'm not doing this on elevators or on airplanes.
But you would
why
never
can
do
everybody
that.
so freely toot on airplanes?
Not everyone. I would not do that.
Oh, it seems to be the one place where I'm like,
Oh, yeah, you claim that you think that the seat absorbs it.
And somehow they don't, like... There's too many people around to blame, I guess.
So you're comfortable in the crowd because you know that they won't think it's you.
Correct. Oh, maybe
they think
that's
it's
it.
like the big guy with like stains on his shirt.
Nobody ever suspects me. And I'm like, it's the one place I could be free.
You shouldn't... Can I convince you not to fart on planes?
It's not like I'm doing... Listen, I'm not eating
Don't
a lot.
backpedal.
I mean, it's just every now and then.
You just let them loose.
Well, it's more like... usually I would be one to excuse myself and go somewhere, but that whole... Doing all that... I'm like a window seat person.
Why can't you just hold it in?
I can hold it in.
Oh.
You know.
But sometimes it gets the best of you. This has been a lot of
conversation about my tooting. What about you?
I will hold it in.
Yeah.
Especially on a plane.
I am so excited.
Okay.
That I am going to be back out there in the dating world with a new opportunity to start
fresh.
New precedent. There will be... I am in a no farting family. Mm-hmm. I'm also in a load the dishwasher from the back to the front.
So is
you
Adam.
Animals.
So is Adam. I am not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I changed for him though because I don't care. I'm not invested in it.
This thought also went through my mind. As I was doing this morning, I'm like, just load it from back, or be willing to change. One of those two things.
Yeah, I don't mind. Whatever you want me to. But it is strange how people get so invested in the dishwasher loading scenario. It really bothers people.
Yeah, why is that?
I've seen a lot of articles about it.
Because it bothers me.
Okay, well,
and then
why?
I feel like my life is a mess if I load it from the front. It feels just like I'm not taking my time.
I mean, I think the reason I was willing to switch was because I could see the logic. It does make more sense.
Good. I like this. I'm somebody who's open to the logic.
I am open.
Right.
But other people will fight to the death. It's the petty hill that they'll die on.
Yes, it is. Of like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People
I think
care.
it's really the people who want it back to front that are the ones who care, not the other ones who are like, don't try to tell me
guys
how
are
to
more
load.
passionate.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I would love to know, like, the more about the differences. Like, if there is a common thread with people that load that way, if they're a certain type of person, like creative thinkers or something.
Oh.
Because you and Adam are so similar.
We're very pragmatic, and all my tests that I've taken, like the MMPI, tell me that I'm
pragmatic. Maybe that's the trait.
Like, I still am a little iffy on the true definition of that word, but it sounds good.
Well, I like your idea, though, about how the beauty of being divorced.
Yes. Restart.
And really, all of it's beautiful. Is that you can then make new rules or new templates for, like, what is your ideal?
And absolutely no. I'll never let that go. Like, one time it accidentally slips out.
The toot.
Yes. I'm going to be like, unacceptable.
When he does it or you?
No, I've never done that.
Okay, right.
And, like, it seems like the airplane's like the only place maybe it happens because I didn't do it in front of Landon. I didn't, never. I bet in our whole relationship, he can maybe say once or twice.
I think another thing you might want to think about, though, is in addition to you not participating in that act.
Yes.
Is when they do it, don't laugh.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
Yes.
Is I laughed before. And I mean, this is everything. Because basically you're okaying
You're giving permission.
You're giving permission by not setting boundaries.
Yeah, what you need to do.
Across the board with, like, everything.
True.
Yes.
Clutch your pearls and be like, I am offended.
This is the difference between dating in your early 20s versus early 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, there's so much stuff I let.
We all do.
We all do.
Don't be hard on yourself.
Right, but lessons learned. You have to learn that. What do they say? I've been using this quote a lot. A smooth sea is never made for a skilled sailor.
What the hell does that mean?
That you need a little chaos and you need the stuff it makes you resilient.
Well,
and it
that's
makes you know how to brave the
true.
storms. So now I'm like, okay, I know how to deal with a little bit of tooting. I know how to shut that down.
Yeah, I forget what I just read, but it was basically... Oh, wait, it's the book club book for tonight. The Pete Holmes memoir. Where, to me, the takeaway is nobody ever becomes enlightened or evolved without being uncomfortable.
Correct.
You know?
Yes.
It's just the paradox of the human condition.
It is totally true.
So just, like, embrace it and be okay with it.
Yes.
Another thing you ought to embrace, especially if you work in the medical community, is FIGS brand products. Did you get yours yet?
No.
Okay.
I need to know all about this.
FIGS is a company that makes scrubs and medical clothes.
Yeah.
They also have some stuff that's like layering, so it's great for just keeping warm in the winter.
Yeah.
It's super high quality. And I love it because, first of all, they decided maybe people should be comfortable and not itchy.
Yeah,
and
imagine that.
They made parts on the various scrubs that allow the new tools to be incorporated into them. So they are very practical, but they also donate to healthcare providers in need around the world every time you buy with them. It's called Threads for Thread Initiative. I love this as an idea for a gift for somebody in the medical field.
Yes, everybody knows somebody.
Yeah, a nurse, a doctor,
Yes.
a dentist, whatever, an assistant. And I think it makes a great gift. And I love the idea that they were like, we want these people to be comfortable and have high quality uniforms.
Oh my God, I just
to wear
Googled it and checked it, like looked at their website.
Yeah.
These are really cute.
I even bought the compression socks because I secretly
those
have
are
always
great.
wanted them. And they have really cool, like, dopamine. The dopamine,
cool.
like,
Yes.
what do you call that? Element or whatever
the
hell.
symbol, the chemical.
See, this is why I'm
symbol.
not in the medical field. I don't know anything. But so whether you're one of the awesome humans that works in healthcare or someone that wants to say thanks for the deserving folks, FIGS is going to make that easy by providing you with 15% off your first purchase by using code BRAINCANDY. Get ready to love your scrubs. Head to wearfigs.com, wearfigs.com, and enter our code BRAINCANDY at checkout. I think you'll love it, and it makes a great gift as well.
You know those shirts that they have that have like the list of just things that it'll say like coffee, donuts, whatever. They have one that's on a bag. I just want to read this because it's funny. It says stethoscope, coffee, big goals, all-nighters, a very large needle.
Yeah.
That's funny, right?
Ooh, I want to have
if you
that
were
stuff.
a nurse or like anybody in that
Super
field.
cute.
Yeah.
Really
like
nice stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho.
I'm glad we sorted out the farting hilarity. Sarah, like...
That night was so funny.
You were just being real funny, though.
Because I'm just in a good mood. I'm happy.
I think it almost was to our benefit that you weren't really familiar with Casey that much.
Yeah.
Because then you were just, like, in it for a good time.
Totally.
You weren't like, oh, let's listen to these songs and be all serious about it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Sometimes going to a concert that you really don't know the artist can be just as fun as if
I
you're
think
a
so,
diehard.
yeah. And also no expectations. And we know
Low
that
bar.
expectations are often that give rise to our
the
greatest disappointments.
genesis of pain.
Yes. So this was like, oh, this is great. And then I was like, oh, I think I know this song. So that was nice.
Right, that's true, too.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a popular artist, you probably know
Yeah.
something about them. Okay. Do you have anything you want to share before I launch into my list?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else from that concert that was hilarious.
Everything was, Sarah.
Yeah.
Those girls that, what would you call that? Thought I was invisible?
Yeah, well, they moved to a seat right next to ours when it was not their seat, and then they tried to have two people standing in a one-person spot.
And what that meant was they were just on top of me.
Yes.
And I had her hair whipping in my face.
So I was like, I got this.
And then as soon as Sarah switched spaces with me, that all stopped.
To BDE.
I always thought I had BDE. Are you trying to say I do not? Because
No, I'm not saying that. It's more like you're like not swinging it around.
Right.
I kind of was like,
if they
ladies.
were men, I would have.
Yeah, you would have more than I would have.
Okay, so maybe we have a gender.
That's it. And I'm taller. I think height does do something.
Yeah.
Because I was wearing heels and I was taller.
And I was wearing flats.
A couple inches than those gals and than you. And it makes me feel like I got to handle this.
You did handle it. Thank you for
I
that.
don't know what that is.
You're like a bodyguard.
There's something in there. Yeah.
Sarah
Adam said
swings
the same
her
thing
dick
when we
around.
went to Brazil. He was like, "Oh, I'm not worried. Sarah's going to be with you."
That's
She's
a good
like
point.
a bodyguard.
Yeah, you're like, you just all of a sudden become this crazy
I
badass.
don't know what it is.
I like it.
Yeah.
Be like that in your relationships.
Okay. I'll try.
Okay. Why am I yelling?
I mean, I don't know why I'm yelling back.
How about this? This is not really new news. It was in an article I had saved like 2 years ago. This guy who was the host of India's Most Wanted, which I think is funny.
Okay.
Just by itself.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know there were.
Different countries have different most wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he was hosting India's Most Wanted, and he murdered his wife. How about that?
Well, there's a twist I didn't see coming. Mm-hmm. That was not at all what I was expecting you to say. I don't know where I thought the story was going to go. But why is it that, it's like the politicians who are so anti, like, LGBT are always the ones getting BJs in the bathroom?
They have that urge inside of them and they don't like it, so then they project it onto others. Maybe I've never heard of that with regards to murder, though. Just sexual proclivities.
Well, but what about the kind of like that hero sort of... No, that doesn't fit.
Well,
like the firefighter
and he
starts us on
made
fire.
it look like, or claimed that she commits suicide with a knife. I mean, I'm sure people do that.
No,
but
that is for somebody
rare.
who is on that show. You think you'd have more knowledge of,
he should have got a gun.
like police.
Yeah,
Like I mean, my mind instantly goes to where are there hesitation marks?
But if
'Cause
I
there would be hesitation marks if it were suicide because your body naturally
really?
does that. Like she would feel it, and then there would be like a pop. It's horrible that I'm saying this.
no, that's interesting. I never thought about
but
that.
if you were murdering somebody, it would be
clean, so to speak.
I mean,
more
yeah,
aggressive,
right?
Yeah.
You get.
That's interesting.
It's really awful.
Well,
I just watch a lot of CSI, not CSI, but.
But
Law
if you
and Order.
heard the story,
That
like
shows, yes.
before they figured out what happened, if they just said this woman died of stab wounds, wouldn't your first thought be the one of the criminals was after him?
Oh,
yes. Like,
well, you know how they ask you, could anybody be?
do you have
upset with
enemies?
Do you have anybody? Yes.
He has a lot of enemies, and they're
A
all
lot.
murderers.
Yeah, that would be my first guess.
I thought, well, he could have gone with that angle.
Oh
He shouldn't have said it was a suicide.
Gosh, you're
We're
good.
like poking holes in his
This is funny because like I look at like the act and I'm like, so this is what he got wrong, and you are looking at
strategy.
Yes, like that doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that if. That is so funny. Yeah. Together we are a crime-solving duo.
The perfect crime.
Yeah.
Right, if Sarah and I ever get accused.
And just in there, you're like, we could get away with it. And I'm like, we could solve it. So our minds definitely go to different places.
Get away with it. Yeah. Right. I mean, he was convicted and is going to jail. But the weird thing is the initial autopsy concluded that it was a suicide.
What?
And then it was reversed when they reopened the case.
Yeah, because I think you have to go in with that mindset of...
Yeah, like confirmation bias, maybe it was, or something.
Yeah. Ooh,
at any rate,
interesting.
So that was crazy when I saw that.
Yeah, and like the angle, that would be very difficult.
The angle
to do it to yourself.
I remember.
Oh God, that's an awful thought.
Gosh, Artie Lang, Howard Stern's co-host, did that. He tried to kill himself that way, but that's the only time I've ever heard of that. I mean, you'd have to be really desperate,
and he didn't succeed.
Correct.
Yeah,
it was
so
unsuccessful.
I think that's the
right. Good point.
And might be. Usually, oh God.
Yeah, let's move on to happier topics. Sorry.
Ooh, took a dark
turn. Here's a feel-good story for you. This woman was selling her 1996 Honda, and
the story's already funny. I don't know why.
And it had almost 150,000 miles on it, and her boyfriend decided it would be really funny to make one of those fancy car commercials, like with the drone footage and everything, and the curvy, winding roads.
I love it.
But with her, like Honda with a cassette deck.
And then just like title it like retro features.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did, and I think they put it on eBay.
All original.
It was starting price $499. It ended up getting $150,000. Because people loved it.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
This is fantastic.
It's super funny.
I love it.
It's also interesting how the human brain works and how that even when we know what he was doing and how it's really kind of a joke, we still are drawn to the car and want to buy it.
Because somebody took the time to make that thing special.
Yeah.
And in a way, to see it. Mm-hmm. Like, could you imagine? Let's like personify the car for a sec.
Yeah.
And just like, this is a car that's like...
They did that. That's what this ad was like.
And like now, if you were that car, you'd be like,
yeah,
I am great. And all of a sudden it gives a value to something.
The ad was
better.
like, you don't care about money. You care about style and being who you are or whatever.
I love this.
And I thought... Bo!
She does
was
that
that
every
a
now
nightmare?
And then. Or she just rolls over and she falls off the bed a lot. Not like her
see
dog
how.
bed.
Good Lord.
I think she like goes to itch her back and then she like she's really good at rollover.
Good
Sometimes
Lord.
just does it.
Well,
and then is very easily startled. So anyways, she's very easily startled.
I think that boyfriend should win some sort of award though. That's really funny.
This reminds me that like this is a thing that they're actually doing a lot, and I saw it work really well on shelter dogs.
Yes, exactly.
I had this exact thought the other day.
That it's just about presentation and the selling of it. They took a pit bull that was in the shelter for 7 years. And one guy took her home for the weekend and said, I'm going to take her home for the weekend. We're going to pamper her. We're going to give her the best life. And she learned a lot. Things that she loves, things that she's scared of, the vacuum cleaner. And like edited it all cute. By the end, I was like, well, I need to adopt this dog. Exactly.
And then it's like, adoptable, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this is genius. Look, I'm getting goosebumps. I freaking love this idea.
I love it too. I love the idea of using marketing to make you see the world in new ways. And it's probably important to remember, like, when you're watching an ad, that's what's being done to you. Just like an awareness.
Way to take it to the next level, Suze, of awareness.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just good to know that you're being manipulated.
So smart.
Right.
Yes.
But in that case, maybe the value was there, and they were excited to have that car and that dog.
Yes, and that dog did smile and has such a smile and is so cute. Mm-hmm. Oh, I want her, little Sookie.
Another thing that's super cute is our Third Love bras.
Yes. Ooh.
Super cute, and more importantly, super comfy.
Yeah, I just got a nice bra display in my drawer, as you've seen.
I saw it.
And I have all my Third Love ones right there. Boop, 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 boop.
I think that's such a good idea because that's like the Marie Kondo thing where it makes you appreciate the item more when you value it in that way. And
I realized I don't need a whole bunch when you have a few quality ones that'll last you a long time. Tell them where they can get them.
That's why you need to try Third Love. They have more than 70 sizes, including signature half-cup sizes. Skip the trip to the store where it's awkward and weird and they try to measure you and you're like, get your hands off me. Right. They have a fit finder quiz, so you take the quiz and get your perfect fit in 60 seconds. And then they have a perfect fit promise, so you can wear it for 60 days, wash it, put it to the test. If you don't love it, you can return it, and they'll donate it to a woman in need. I love that. It's very comfortable. I hate bras, but I love my Third Love bra, and they know that there's a perfect bra for everyone. And right now they're offering our listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/brain now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/brain for 15% off today.
Yes.
All right, so that was good news we covered.
And oh my goodness, I'm got a burp.
Right? Man,
well, you
and
sneezed,
Bo.
So we're okay.
Yes,
everybody's.
that's so true.
Yeah, you sneezed. We're both rolling over. I'm burping. I'm good now. I just love that it's kind of like our minds were like in sync with like those stories because you were like reading that one. And I'm telling you, this was like just yesterday / this morning that I was thinking heavy about this, which I think is like, so there you go.
It's always good when your thought is sort of reinforced by another idea and you're like, okay, this was meant for me. I need to remember this message.
That. Yes. I'm starting to write all those down. My mom gave me that advice. She said, you start realizing how many times there are, connections out there and how often, they feel good to see.
And even if they're not real, let's say they're
totally
completely coincidental or whatever.
Which is
who cares?
Who cares?
Because if it's meaningful to you,
correct,
then you can think about it and apply it to your life and make changes or whatever. I love stuff like that.
Like, let's say, for example, me. I have been really on a kick of just doing the basic self-care that we kind of forget about because I'm, succeeding in all the other categories. So I'm like, I'm going to drink my water, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and take my vitamins. Yeah. Well, let's just do that. Yeah. When I had like 3 successful days in a row, I felt like the universe was like rewarding me. And I was like, this was easy, or I got, whatever it was. And it made me like double down on like, see, yep, I need to be I need to be doing all this. It really pays off. So just seeing those, feeling like I was getting validation somewhere, even if it's all in my mind, which is totally a thing. If that inspires me to then do all the good stuff I've been doing for 3 more days. And just like you said with the dog thing and with commercials or advertising, like be aware of the opposite. The same works in reverse. Mm-hmm. If I were to just be like, everything sucks and this is all bad, and then I would just focus on the negative, and then I would just see more negative, and it would be like, see? Confirmation bias there. So instead, switch it for the good. Yeah. I'm loving it.
I think that journaling idea is so effective, too. Yeah. But that's another habit that sometimes you don't feel like it. And
well, you got to just start small. Yeah. Yeah. And Susie, you gave me the idea, like inspiration to get this great calendar that we both have that has little it has one section that just says keep track. And it's just like 1 through 7 little bubbles, but doesn't say anything. Like you can make it whatever you want. Yeah. So I like to make it real simple. And I like to do things that I know I'm going to succeed on. Yeah. And then something that's challenging so that I can see. It's kind of like the money in the bank account we said.
Yeah. I was just telling Adam that sometimes when we record, those are long days and like we have book club tonight. Mm-hmm. And I thought tomorrow is Friday. I want to, I'm going to make a special trip to Staples because it's back to school time. And this is not an ad. This is just me being weird.
Unless Staples want to sponsor us, in which case.
I love Staples. I want that feeling of when you go back to school and get the supplies and how you have hope and you think, this is going to be a great year.
So much optimism.
Yeah. So I'm going to just go as if I'm going back to school and I'm going to get the supplies and like new pens.
You absolutely 100% should.
I am going to.
I keep going to Target and walking around that section thinking I'm going to get inspired with something that maybe I can like I have an excuse to buy something in this because I feel like I'm missing
the same thing. Yeah.
And my friends from school, from my cohort, have said the same thing too. They're like, is anybody else depressed when they see the back to school stuff and really wish that they could pick out some composition books?
Yeah, because the school part is hard, but the fun part is that feeling of like, this is going to be a great year, and these supplies are going to ensure that I'm organized and like on top of my shit, and it's just fun.
I live in a world where I've been in school for so long that I have the idea of a calendar starting on January 1st is like a totally foreign idea. I'm like,
Can
what
you
do you
believe
mean?
people buy those?
Right. I'm like, who waits till January to buy a calendar? What are you going to do for the first part of the year?
Right. It's like the Chinese New Year, but just school.
Yeah.
The school New Year, whatever it is.
It was like, that's when it starts, and every single calendar better be from August to maybe July if they're a good company who gives you that extra month to kind of get your stuff in order. And then
There's always like a bonus
Yes.
month.
Like, I think this one gives me July.
I think that giving yourself permission to do those things, though, where it's like, I don't really need more pens,
Right.
but it will make me feel good, and
Yes.
so I'm going to do it. It costs
Marie
$3.
Kondo would definitely approve of that.
Would she, though?
Yeah.
She doesn't like a lot of buying.
Well, I was thinking the same thing when I was like, oh my God, I was having that great day. And I said, I was doing everything right. And then I'm like cleaning up and organizing and getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And I pick up my makeup brush, and it kind of like had a smell, like kind of like mildewy.
Recently.
And I said, man, I think I should get some new makeup brushes. And I happened to be at Michael's Arts and Crafts of all frickin' places. And what do I see? But makeup brushes
They had a set.
on sale. I was in there to just scoop out some Halloween decorations.
Right.
No intentions.
The universe
I
just
left
dropped
with
that in
$2
your
makeup
lap.
brushes.
Are you
And they were
psyched?
like all like good fibers, like real great, exactly what I needed. And it was the right, and they were on sale for $2. I'm like, this feels like it was meant to be here.
See, you guys, we are like having this new mindset. You should join us.
They do have really great Halloween stuff right now, though.
At Michael's?
Oh my God.
Like,
it's
what-
all
what-
fortune teller themed. I'm like obsessed. And
For
I do
real?
not need any more. Do not let me buy any. Susie, don't let me buy any Halloween stuff.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a
sounds
problem.
serious.
I know. Because this is like, I was thinking, I'm like, oh, you have Halloween hoarder tendencies.
I just read in this book, gosh, I think it was The Art of Making Memories. That's the name of the book. And it was saying how weird the brain is, where they did a study where they gave a kid a candy bar for Halloween. And then they did one where he got a candy bar and then another candy bar and then a candy bar and a piece of gum and then just a piece of gum. And you would think, like, if you loved the one candy bar, you would really love two. But there was no difference because the brain, it just puts emphasis on the second item. So if you only get that one item, then you're happy.
Yeah.
If you get two of the same, it's no different.
Yeah.
And then if you get a bar and then a piece of gum, you're sad.
disappointed. Oh my
Even though it's more than
gosh.
just a candy bar. You got a candy bar and a piece of gum. You're like more sad than if you just got a candy bar.
Now, question. Do you remember the article that you shared about if you want to have a good meal at a restaurant, order a good appetizer?
Yeah.
This seems backwards
That
then.
does.
Okay. I'm so glad that we talk about so many studies on here because we can basically bring up counterpoints. Like, what do they call it when you read the article and you critique? We can like...
Yeah, because wasn't
critique
the
the
name of that
article.
like the recency effect? There was some name for it where it was like the first thing you eat. Maybe your stomach is different than the rest of your body.
And it's got to be, and it's got to also be like there's something about it being, when you go to a restaurant, you've signed up for this experience.
Yeah.
When somebody just says, hey, here's a candy bar.
Yeah.
It's like getting something for nothing.
But this was
and
a
that's
trick or
maybe
treating.
Like, oh,
So you would think it would fall in that same category of expectation. We know we're getting candy or whatever.
this is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But I do think
Linda?
that would happen. I mean,
What?
I would be all of that is correct. If somebody gave me a candy bar and then, like, for example, I have these wonderful candy bars sitting right in front of me right now.
A brain candy. Brainiac
Yes.
sent her candy.
Yeah, who was it?
Mo Gillette.
Shout out to Mo.
Shout out to Mo.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, they're so good. They're
Because
so
Sarah talked about how
fantastic.
she loves Lion bars,
Yeah.
and she sent 2 packs.
I know, it's so great.
Of,
I said if Susie's real nice, I might give her a bar.
I know. I was telling Sarah how I get notifications when we have packages at our business address, and so I go down there thinking it's like my serious work, like with the prisons and stuff. And then I go in and they're like, here's your box for Sarah, and I'm always annoyed. And then like it opens it up, and then it's always just like something for her.
Get out.
You guys, can you believe
Send
that?
Susie stuff too.
I like candy.
Yes, she does.
No,
well, tell everybody what your favorite. Oh, you did Reese's peanut butter cups.
No, I don't want candy. But
She doesn't want candy, people.
I just want to complain.
Yeah,
That's what I
that
enjoy.
you're allowed to do.
One thing that I will not complain about ever is this company called Your Super, which I ordered you something, so you'll be getting that.
Suze.
It's basically 9 out of 10 people don't eat enough fruits and veggies. We already know that.
This is all ready for me.
And so they created these mixes that you can get, and they have different ones. Like one is for like beauty, skin, hair, nails, that type of thing.
Like a tonic.
Yeah.
That you drink.
Or, if you want to increase immune health, things like that. And you can put it in to your recipes. Like, spaghetti sauce or soup or whatever. Just throw it in, and then you're going to get all these superfoods.
Yeah, I need this.
Right?
I was just complaining that I feel like I'm iron deficient.
Oh, my God, she was.
I am.
Wait, did someone tell you that, or is that your theory about?
Well, it's my theory, but I've also been denied from 3 out of 4 of the last times I went to donate blood because they say I don't have enough iron, and they even said go eat a meal and come back, and I did, and it's still not high enough. So I think that's a real thing.
Maybe I should have got you, if they have an iron.
Well, don't worry, I'm doubling up on the folic acid and the leafy greens to
Okay,
make
well,
up
so
for
this is perfect for you then, because Your Super, they understood how complicated it all is and how we just give up. I don't know. I'm just trying my best.
Yes.
So this way it's easy. Just throw it in. I thought it was great for if you have kids.
Yes.
Put it, the sneaky chef or whatever they call that. Love it. You can get the cleanest.
We're talking like we're poisoning them, and we're giving them vitamins and nutrients, so things to help them.
I know.
You could just sneak it in. No, they'll never know.
And they have a transparent supply chain, so you know where the food's coming from, which I love too.
That's very important.
You can get the cleanest superfood and plant protein mixes at yoursuper.com. That's YOUR super.com. Get 15% off your order when you use code BRAINCANDY at checkout. Go to yoursuper.com, and don't forget to get 15% off with promo code BRAINCANDY. They have all different mixes, so check them all out.
Oh, I will.
And see what you think.
I just love the personalized. Actually, my friends were talking about this. They're like, hey, do you know a company that does those personalized supplements and
Yeah,
so now I will give
That's
this
a great
one.
idea.
Sweet.
Okay, now
Yes.
onward and upward.
Yes.
Let's see, what do you want to hear about?
Oh, let me see. Tell me anything.
I did watch a cool video about a female taxidermist.
Oh.
And who would think that would be interesting? I mean, it is, but who would even think of it?
Right.
She just started it as a hobby. This was on Business Insider, this video. And she started as a hobby. She just found it interesting, the idea, I suppose. And the video was cool because I've never really thought about what is going on with a taxidermied animal. One thing I should say is she doesn't do any animals that have been killed or hunted. She only does ones that die, and then, let's say a museum needs a squirrel.
Yeah.
You know how they have all those animals at the museum?
I mean, I'm kind of into it.
I'm kind of into it too, and it's real quirky.
I really,
because it's kind of, goth.
More, yes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into it.
She's edgy.
Yeah.
So here's what I didn't know. What do you think's in these things?
So first a foam mold.
Okay.
So maybe a wire structure, and then how there's there's a foam that that expanding foam kind of stuff. Or
yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So you make a mold, and then it's weird that I know this.
Well,
and
I think hers might be wood,
and then you wrap that around it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you get to put all
Does
the little details in.
Does everyone know that? For me, this was new information.
I just think I've watched a couple
I forget how dark
documentaries
you
and
are.
stuff, and Tuesday Sacrifice was probably into the taxidermy stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I also have multiple I had to Google how do you remove skin from a skull. And when Landon, oh my God, this is so funny. It's one of his favorite stories. When we were first dating, I was doing all these, an animal skull, for goodness sakes, people. I was doing all these art projects where I was taking antlers, and then I would cover them with flowers. and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I bought bulk antlers on eBay
God.
from like a hunter in wherever.
Are you
they had like
kidding me?
deer shed. Like it was all like the deers just shed those antlers and you can get that. But there were 2 skulls and the skulls still had a little bit of
Shut
fur and stuff on them.
up.
And so I had to fill my bathtub up with bleach and soak animal skulls in there. And when Landon came over in one of our first dates, I had to explain like, if you go in the bathroom, those are for an art project, I promise, because they're like skulls soaking in bleach in the bathtub. And he still married me, so
What?
quite a catch, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, you are quite a woman.
Yeah. You know, just
And that worked.
the taxidermist would have no problem. Yes, it was later turned into the trophy for his battle beef competition.
Right.
And then I have the other one in my house still, and it's beautiful, white, shiny, sparkly, like bleached out.
No, that is cool,
Yeah.
but what a weird problem to have.
Well, I wasn't expecting it to come like that. That was why I had to Google it, because I'm like, well, I've never been, I don't know how to do this. And then I was like, I really hope I don't die. Because if they search or if I don't go missing or something, or I hope my neighbor doesn't die right now because they're going to look at that. I mean, I have a very questionable Google search.
She'll be on India's Most Wanted like in no time.
Right.
Well, I suppose
Yes.
there are a lot of people, especially hunters, who know a lot about this and are into it.
Yeah.
But I guess I just never knew how it all worked. And it was really interesting to watch her do it and how passionate she is about getting it right and having
Yeah.
it look authentic and how she's improved over time. And I just thought it was so funny that she would have this, it's like a little workshop. And she does them all, and she has like all the innards like in her freezer, and she'll be like, "These are for my friend who has dogs. They're going to get that bones or
That
whatever
was
the
what I
heck."
was wondering, like what happens to the
Yeah,
stuff.
she gives them to people, and she
yeah.
doesn't want there to be waste. You
I
know,
like
she
that.
wants everything to be
Yeah.
used. She's very thoughtful about her craft, and I think it's so cool. I have always thought this about how people are passionate about so many different things that you would never even think
Right.
of, but it's her thing.
So I was listening to Ask Me Another on NPR just the other day, and they had a guest on there, and I don't know how it came up, but they were like sharing, oh, well, what do you like to do? And she said that she and her husband just took a taxidermy class, and they like one of those like sign up for whatever, and they made a little squirrel, and it was all like a squirrel that had been donated to like it was going to go to a snake or some animal at a zoo, but then
yeah.
they put it in the freezer for too long, so it made it so the animal couldn't eat it, and so they
Freezer
donated.
burned.
Yes, right. And Suze, would you be interested in a taxidermy class? Would you ever do it?
I would.
I would too.
I would do that.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, because it's just fun to see what other people do for a living.
And it's interesting that I don't think of it as being like I can't go hunting. I'm not into any of that. I do not like the
death part.
Death part.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm practically like would give up meat real easy. If, you know.
If you weren't
More
iron deficient.
And everybody, I know vegans, vegetarians, you can get it through other means.
Yeah,
but
and you told me the other day
Yes.
you are using like spinach and
Yes,
whatever.
kale and all that.
Yeah.
Yep. So yes, so I think
But
that
what-
it could be interesting. It feels like it almost feels like you're respecting it.
True. I get that. You're honoring
However,
nature.
here's where I draw the line.
Okay.
If I knew this animal, pets, all
People
that.
love that, right?
People love it. I can't be down. I'm down for it for science of like, we need to recreate what this looks and like put it in a museum. But the idea of like Bo,
Right.
oh no. I don't know. So maybe people who are interested in that, feel free to tweet me, at me, whatever people say. What are the kids saying these days?
Oh my God.
But I just am not into animals that I knew.
If you did have one, though, what would you like? What I would do, maybe a bunny. They're really cute.
Oh, a bunny? I would want to do like a crow or a raven.
That's a great
on a branch.
Great choice.
And I mean,
witchy woman.
then I don't have to be buying the Halloween stuff. Really, I'm just trying to work more Halloween decorations
Year-round.
into like. I'm like, okay, so I told Susie to not let me buy any. I wonder how she'll feel about letting me make some. I'm already trying to like.
loopholes.
Yes, my own rules. Why do I do this to myself?
Yeah, I get that.
That would be so cool. Oh,
How
I'm
could
already
she
obsessed.
make a living off of this, though? Unless,
Oh.
because it even said in the video that museums are kind of, this is a dying thing where even
Sure.
they aren't really doing this that much.
good. Yeah.
We're good. We have enough
Yeah.
bunnies. But like, How could she? Maybe they're really expensive and that's how she can make a living?
I think they're expensive because it's time consuming. I think you do get money from the pets because I think that's where I saw it.
Oh, maybe she does
I
pets.
saw a document or something where people were doing, it's got to be on Vice or something.
I get what you're saying.
There's definitely one where I saw this before.
When their pet dies, they'll send it.
And do you remember that show that was on a really long time ago, The Marriage Ref, with Tom Papa? Look how much I remember. Wow. Yeah, I never do that.
Because you OD'd on your Adderall earlier.
Like I may have accidentally taken half a dose more than I should have because I couldn't remember if I took it.
Unlike
Turns
some
out.
people, Sarah's is prescribed.
Yes, that is correct. So, anyways, on this, one of the things that they were reffing was a man who had his dog stuffed.
Yeah.
But it was in a like territorial like stance that was aggressive, and the wife was like, "Get that thing out of here." I was with the wife.
Who won? Do you remember?
I think the wife.
Yeah.
Because they were like,
Put it in
"You
the
don't
garage
need to-"
at least.
Yes. When it's something that can be moved like that so easy, like dude who wants to park his motorcycle in the house, you can't do that either.
Right.
That guy was on there too. I loved that show. Bring that show back.
It didn't last very long.
I don't know why.
That was a
There's
big
nothing
failure.
I loved. Well, you know what? This is why I'm a marriage and family therapist, though.
Oh, that's true.
Because
You're
I
into
enjoy
this whole-
watching this. I went into
You
this
literally
profession.
are the-
Okay.
We cracked the case on that
There you go.
one.
Now I know why I liked it, and now I know why nobody else did.
That's so
Because
funny.
nobody wants to sit and listen to people's fight over their problems for hours on end, except me.
One thing that everyone likes, which Sarah mentioned earlier, which I wish I could have segued at that point, but it wasn't the right time,
what?
is vitamins.
Yes.
And Sarah is now in the habit. She is making sure. I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
It
You've
really
taken
has.
Ritual
I
vitamins.
am so good.
Because, as we said before, people aren't getting what they need from their food.
Yes. Oh, personal testimony right
Yes,
now.
let's hear it.
I was cleaning out my cupboard, and I had my old prenatal vitamins.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at the serving size. 6 you have to take
That's
in
a
one
lot.
day. And then I opened it up and took a smell.
Oh.
I just about puked. And out loud, I said, well, good thing I have another option.
Yeah.
And those went straight into the trash.
Yeah.
Because are you kidding me?
Well, I don't understand why anyone is still doing that.
It smelled like
It's so
actual
gross.
fish.
Ritual vitamins do not smell bad.
Thank
They
God.
smell like mint, and you don't get that fishy aftertaste that's common with all the omega-3s because they're time-released. So they don't make you sick, and you don't get that gross taste. And for me, that is the reason why I've been able to sustain the habit, because before it was like drudgery. I didn't want to take them because they made me
can't
upset.
even open the bottle.
Right. Ritual's delivered on a subscription base, so you can snooze it if you need a few more days or cancel whatever you need to do that month. But it is such a great thing to have and great habit to get into. So better health doesn't happen overnight. And right now, Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Fill in the gaps in your diet with Essential for Women. And they have the prenatal, too.
Mm-hmm.
A small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. Visit ritual.com/braincandy to start your ritual today. That's 10% off during the first 3 months at ritual.com/braincandy. There you go. We're looking out for you over here, getting healthy.
Yeah.
Gosh. It's so positive.
Yes.
Let's get negative again.
Okay.
I read an interesting article. It reminded me of how we were talking about Aziz Ansari and that idea of the complicated nature of consent and how many of us have sex when we really don't want to because it's just easier. And The Atlantic had an article about the weaponization of awkwardness, and it was so interesting because it was talking about how
The
society,
weaponization of awkwardness.
how, like, for example, don't make a scene. That idea where if a woman especially gets upset, she's always told, don't make a scene.
Right.
And basically it mutes a dissenting voice. Somebody who's saying, like, I'm not comfortable right now. I'm upset.
Correct.
You're not being civil. You're being out of line.
Yes.
And the
People
ways,
of color get the same thing.
well, that's true.
Yep.
They even get policed when they're just having fun and laughing.
Correct.
Right. And so this sort of idea of like what's culturally acceptable or socially acceptable is used as a way to silence people who are saying, I don't like your behavior and I don't like what you're trying to make me do. Like for instance, if you went to the Christmas party and your boss kisses you without your consent and like corners you, if you were to start yelling, you're seen as a crazy bitch.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I guess I never thought about that idea of civility and how it's used against us.
All the time.
I know. We're just accustomed to it.
I even think this is the bystander effect. Also,
it said that too.
Because this is part of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to, we're putting ourselves in the position of the person involved. But if you're one who's watching or you see something or you're at a party and you see kind of
We've all been in that position.
We've all been
should
there.
I say something?
And we go, oh, this is our stop being polite thing. Mm-hmm. You have to say something.
My husband and I have 2 times now been driving and seen a man hit a woman. And he always stops. And he honks and he rolls down his window and he says, I'm calling the cops. And the men always run off,
Oh,
but
my God, Suze.
it's weird that we've seen that twice.
Yeah.
Where are we driving? But it's that feeling of like, what are you supposed to do? Like, we're just driving by and you witness something that's like probably something that goes on between them all the time. Mm-hmm. You know how what do you call that?
Common couples violence.
Common couples violence.
Yeah.
I always ask Sarah, what do you call that?
What's that thing?
Because I think that a lot of people get in that pattern. But to see it,
right?
It's so jarring.
It really is.
To see a man hit a woman, it's like, whoa. God. My husband's like, oh, fuck that. No way.
Yeah, I'm so glad he does. It's so important to do.
And we always have Link in the car, so he's not going to get out and like intervene because then he might end up dead.
Well, and also the last people you want to intervene with is the domestic violence and the
we know how that goes.
Like people who
these guys are armed.
Yes, correct.
We're learning
the Venn diagram. There's a lot of overlap in that. Shootings and domestic violence.
You're right, though. There's that the bystander effect is rooted in that same idea of like, I'm supposed to be civil here. I don't want to make this awkward. And
like looking at others for
what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, just like we said before, when you don't say anything, when you laugh, I say this in my presentations all the time. I am not saying like, I speak to a lot of guys. This is exactly, I'm at the military base.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of you are not these guys. Mm-hmm. But you know what? You are the guy who's laughed at the joke that his buddies made.
Yeah.
Or you are the guy who says, hey, dude, can I borrow that wife beater? And you talking about a ribbed tee. Mm-hmm. You're saying, you're not doing that, the action, but you're normalizing it and giving it the thumbs up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just a good reminder.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of times I read these things, it's not exactly, there's not suggestions really. Yeah. It's just drawing your attention to something that goes on all the time and perhaps you never thought about it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of social mores are built around patriarchy and racism. And
who's making the rules of what's quote-unquote normal? And after I watched the Dr. Ruth documentary, so
did you
good.
Like it?
I know. I can't even begin to describe how much. My favorite part was at the very end. They're showing her just being real herself with and she's talking to a friend, and she goes, "This is my friend. He's a great lawyer. Tell them how much money you make. Can I tell them how much money you make?" And he was like, "No." And it was just so cute. She goes, "I know, it's a lot." And it was just so cute because it doesn't matter how much is in her bank. She's still living in the same house she's lived in for forever.
I like that.
I just love it. Oh, see, now I got caught up in talking about Dr. Ruth. I want to be a Jewish
grandma.
But I mean,
she's such an adorable Jewish grandma.
Oh, she's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And how she is with her grandkids. And what did you think, though, of how, so they described, how her family perished in the Holocaust and how terrible that was. And then they juxtaposed it, of course, with her resilience.
Yes.
And it was noted throughout the film that she doesn't get emotional in this sort of traditional sense of crying. Mm-hmm. She doesn't cry or make a fuss. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's just personal? Do you think it's a good survival technique? Do you think that's often bad?
Seeing
it works
how
for her.
It does, and seeing how the relationships, you can really, somebody's ability to process their own trauma and to work through a lot of this stuff. The evidence can be seen in the health of their relationships and the health of the people around them. I mean, it's like you hang around with dogs, you get fleas kind of thing, or you. Yeah. That is.
It's clear that she's in a good place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that there's some outlet that she's found for herself, whether it be being the voice and speaking out. Sometimes you transfer that, kind of like vigilante justice sort of, I need to right the wrongs kind of thing, to a different subject. To, okay, well, now I'm going to fight the good fight over here. And it kind of feels like somehow I'm, so I think there's got to be something that has been sort of, and maybe I think it might be her faith and her, that she's, there could be a whole bunch but she definitely has done the work to you don't, to say that there's only one way to look or express emotion, or that's just kind of what we see and what we would think about, because it's the feeling we get when we would imagine that. But if you've never been exposed to that, or you were in a situation where your father taught you in that moment, which he did, turn around and wave and smile. Right. Because that was the last thing her father did for her. That might as well be like a cry.
Yeah.
Because that's what it holds, the same emotional like that moment, whether she's being, resilient and holding strong and smiling and waving, feels the same as if she were bursting with tears and expressing that in a different way.
When you go through something that horrific, losing your family, then it's almost beyond sometimes, I think, just sort of the usual mourning process. It's inconceivable. Yeah. So maybe you go to a different place with it, or you work it out in a different way. Wasn't it A Man's Search for Meaning that was written by the man who was, I believe that is the book. I don't know that one.
And he was in a concentration camp, and he wrote this book. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. And it's really all about how hopeful, like having hope, and like what helps you survive in those moments and what really matters. Yeah. And I think she's done a good job of really knowing what matters. Yeah, channeling whatever it is. She doesn't even care. Look at where she lives. Yeah. She's like, I don't care about this. Good point. This is what matters. Yeah. If you were somebody who's like, I need the bigger house, like it's never enough, I gotta go, then maybe. Because that would be unhealthy, and I'd be like, oh, see, there's still stuff you're dealing with. She's good. Yeah, she is. More than good. She's a badass bitch. The best. Also, what is the best is Stamps.com. I just went to the mailbox before you got here, Sarah, and put a book in the mail for our friend Steph in the book club. Oh, shout out to Steph. She couldn't make it to the meeting tonight, so I sent her a copy of your book club pick. Oh, good. Jessica Ragg's book. But the reason why I was able to do that is because I have Stamps.com, so I can just print out, the postage right here at our office and put it on the package and put it in the mail. Any class of mail, anywhere you want to send it. You get 5 cents off every first class stamp and 40% off priority mail. If you are shipping stuff, this is the way to go. You don't have to go to the post office. It's a no-brainer, saving you time and money. Right now, our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Brain Candy. That's Stamps.com, and enter Brain Candy. And we have a guest. Yes. Actually, we've had her on this show before. She is a wonderful author named Alyssa Friedland, and she wrote a book called The Floating Feldmans. I interviewed her before about The Intermission, which was about the marriage. I've heard of The Floating Feldmans, like from other people. It's really good. I have to read this book. You will like it. It's a whole family that is celebrating the matriarch's 70th birthday, and they go on a cruise. And it's so dysfunctional and great. That's probably what people are like, oh, you like dysfunctional family stories? Like, because people, really I've heard this, like, not from you or from this show. It's light and fun read, but it's also very relatable because if you have a dysfunctional family, we all do. Who doesn't? Then you can see, like, when you're trapped on a boat or whatever, your secrets come out. Yeah. Your lies become... You're like, where's that iceberg when you need it? Right. Get me off of here. Get me out of here. But I like talking to her about her writing process and how she comes up with these ideas. And also her research for the cruise element is funny. So please enjoy this interview. Check out The Floating Feldmans. Alyssa Friedland, welcome to the show. At long last, I get to talk to you about your book. I'm so excited. I feel like I read it ages ago. Thank you so much. I'm glad we were able to reschedule. Yeah. And, I mean, maybe are you sick of talking about it yet? No, not really, actually. Most of my events haven't even started yet. So get out of here. I'm good.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I have a million events, but most of them start in September. So yes, I'm ready.
I thought
I do have an event tomorrow. But,
okay. So you're like diving in now. I thought you were going to be burnt out.
No, I'm good. I'm totally
Awesome.
good.
All right. Well, let's first talk. Well, congratulations on another amazing book.
Thank you.
I don't understand how you're that productive. Like, we just talked about the intermission, I feel.
I don't know. I think I really like my job. And because I really like what I do, I find the hours.
Yeah.
I love it. I was just saying that to my husband like 5 minutes ago. For me, it's not a struggle to work because I like it so much.
Because I
really enjoy it.
That's the whole thing that people talk about with writing is that everyone likes that feeling when you get on a roll, but sometimes you really struggle with writer's block or just feeling like sick of it or getting sick of your content, but you don't have that?
I mean, I do hate the editing process and getting comments back from my editor that involve a ton of work. They do stress me out, but then I just want to do it because I don't like that hanging over my head feeling. So I'd rather just like tackle it because I hate feeling like I have something that I don't want to do hanging over my head.
Oh my gosh.
But like the original writing, I love. The editing, I definitely don't love, but just want it to be over with as soon as possible.
And do you do it in chunks or you just when the mood hits you or do you have a schedule?
I'm really not scheduled at all, but I'm lucky that I'm not someone who needs like a ton of quiet. So I'll work, with my kids around me. I'll work sometimes with the TV on in the background. Like I'm not one of these writers with noise canceling headphones in a library. I can be very distracted at the same time. Yeah. So to some extent, so that helps a lot. And I'll just do like short bursts when I can. But I kind of say that I'm always working because I'm always thinking about it. Like, so even if I'm not typing, like it's always on my mind. So that's probably a problem. Like I'm not good at turning it off.
I think it's working out great for you because you're so productive and your books are so fun and interesting. The Floating Fell Minutes I loved because there was a lightness to it that I really liked, but it was so relatable and anybody with a freaking family can understand what it's like to kind of have a little dysfunction.
It's so funny. Like I think it's like light but has serious issues. And then there are people who read it or like, it was so heavy.
What?
It was so, like reading about a family with that many problems between them and so dysfunctional. It's like, be prepared. It's really heavy. And I'm like, what
That's
are they
crazy.
talking about? I'm like, they're just a regular family who like deals with the typical family stuff. I'm like, wow, your families must be like pretty perfect if you think that the Feldmans are like so screwed up,
Right. Maybe they need to go on a cruise and see what happens with their family.
I've been so surprised by it's not a lot of people who say that, but there have been a few. So that's really shocked me.
Yeah, that surprises me because I felt this was very relatable and, everybody has stuff or, secrets maybe or things you don't tell your parents.
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was so fun. And I loved the concept of them being on a cruise. How did you choose to make that the motif or whatever?
I just felt like it's the perfect place to have people be stuck all together because even like just the visual of not being able to get off and not being able to just like book a flight and go home. If there's a brawl, if you're on land and there's a huge family brawl, you could just go to the airport.
Right.
But here you can't. Like you're really stuck. And I like the idea of just having them all stuck. And also cruises are sort of hysterical. They're great for like, poking a little good-natured fun, a little bit of satire. So
yes,
it seemed like kind of a natural setting. And it's also very common to take these types of trips, like going on a cruise for, a grandma's birthday. It's like that's a very typical thing to do. So it just made sense.
And there is limited communication with email or internet or texting. And so you're trapped in that way too, which is, nightmarish now for all of us.
Absolutely.
And obviously that's going to add to the drama because it's because my co-host and I were on reality TV and that's kind of what it's like when we're on the show is that you're trapped in this house with weirdos and you don't have your phones. And then, of course, you fight and get into trouble and maybe hook up with people. So it was not unlike that, except with your parents or your in-laws or whoever.
The idea was like a house would have worked too, like a house in a remote area without Wi-Fi would have also worked. You know, any place that just sort of traps people together. But with the cruise, like I was able to have fun with the other passengers and all the activities. Like there was just more fun stuff to write about.
Totally. I loved it. Well, are you a cruiser? What's your deal with cruises? Have you gone on one?
I've only been on one, which I went on for book research, actually. And I went
Shut
on
up.
cruise. Yeah, I had never been on one, but I'd already made up my mind because my parents had been on a lot of cruises, and just based on their descriptions, I was like, that'll be perfect. And I booked a Royal Caribbean cruise that I went on with my husband and 3 kids. And it was like, I'm really glad I went for authenticity. And I definitely did pick up details that I wouldn't have if I had never been on a cruise, but it largely met my expectations.
Did you enjoy your time on the boat?
It was very rocky, and like, I didn't get sick, actually. We were really lucky, but a lot of the passengers got sick, and there was a huge storm, and they had to cancel all the activities on the boat because it wasn't safe for the performers to perform. I mean,
That's so great. Well, doesn't it shock you that there are people that are obsessed with cruises?
Yes, it does. Like, having been on one, I'm like, I don't understand. But I guess, like, economically, like, there's a great value. There can be a great value, and it is easier. I can see why people would choose a cruise for, like, one of these big family trips, because there's something for everyone.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And you can sort of go off on your own and do your own thing, but still be together. But I think it's, like, the economics. Like, it's just it can be a really affordable way to travel and see the world. So I would say that's probably maybe explains the cruise addiction.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because you're right. If you want to travel, but you are on a budget, this is a great way to do it, and everything's planned for you. Okay, all right. But, I mean, it just seems germy and gross. But I think so. Yeah. I love the detail that you added. I was cracking up about the sort of matching sweatshirt scenario.
We saw a lot of that on the boat.
You did?
Tons.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's so many, like, personalized.
It makes me so happy. I can't believe people do that too, but I bet I can see why it would be the same people that love cruises that would also participate in matching outfits.
100%. Exactly.
So the premise of the book is around this cruise and the idea of, a family wanting to have sort of the perfect vacation, which is not even a thing. And they kind of it does bring out the best and worst in people, I suppose, when you're all together. But do you have a vacation that you took that was actually really good or really bad?
I've never been on a really bad vacation. I mean, I did go on a big family trip with my husband's entire family when I was pregnant with my first child. And I was really like an anxious pregnant person. And I was like not my best self. And we went to Mexico, and I was super paranoid about getting sick from like the water and the food. And I was like in a bad mood the whole time. And my husband and I ended up leaving early because we were just so I was so miserable. I remember I fell in the shower, and I was convinced something had gone wrong with the baby. Everything was fine, but that was just so stressful. And I was like pretty new to my husband's family then, so I think they kind of all thought I was a hypochondriac. Like, that was definitely a stressful experience. I think we've gotten over it by now, and they know I'm normal. But other than that, I've been with my parents on a trip to Israel with my husband and my kids, on a big van that we went all over the place. And it was fine. We actually had a very nice time. I think everyone made an effort to be on their best behavior, but by the end I was like, okay, enough. Yeah. I just want to be with my nuclear family. I don't want to do everything in a large group anymore. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted an hour to be alone. That's it. Not even with my husband and kids. I just wanted to be alone.
Well, and sometimes I think those terrible vacations can be great too, because then you really remember it, even if it's awful.
Yeah. Right. No, that's true. And then you laugh later. Often if something terrible happens, but then in retrospect, you're like, you can have distance from it and laugh about how sort of ridiculous the situation is, you know? So yeah, I think like vacation shouldn't be that long. I guess that's sort of my opinion, that like 5-6 days is
that's enough.
Because I don't know. I'm sure many people would disagree and they would love to go away for 2 weeks at a time if they could.
Oh,
but I'm always so happy to get home.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we just need to create nests that aren't so inviting, and then we'll want to travel more. I don't know. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the book was this idea of one of the characters who was a kind of an underachiever and then became successful, and how the family responds to that and the secrets involved with it. But I was struck by that idea because I feel like that in my own family, where whatever you were at, say, the age of 10, your family thinks you are forever.
Yeah. And you're totally stuck.
Yeah. What made you decide to include that?
Because I've thought about it. Like, I think that we all have such a hard time shaking, like, who we used to be, you know?
Yeah.
And we do change. Like, I'm definitely not the same person I was when I was like 8.
Yeah.
And I was much more like uptight, and I was much more of a perfectionist, and I had to be the best at everything. And I'm really not like that at all anymore. But like, that's definitely the way my parents still see me. They like can't recognize that I've evolved. And I don't really blame them, because I think that's just like, I would be the same way, and I probably will be the same way with my children. And you know, siblings are like that. I think that's like why so few people who like know each other when they're very young end up together like romantic. Never, like, if you knew someone when they were 6, it's very hard to like then see them as like a attractive partner, like as an adult, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know whether parents just sort of have blinders on, and once they feel like they know their kid, then they can't recalibrate as their child evolves and becomes an adult. But it makes me crazy, man.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's like, go ahead.
I don't know. I just think like trying to reshape your identity is such a big part of almost everybody's experience, you know? So I thought that would be very relatable. And Freddie is still like insecure, you know, because he's done so well, but even he still sees himself as the way his parents saw him.
Right. That's the thing. Sometimes it can inform your own identity, even if it doesn't match the truth anymore.
Right.
Do you have a character in the book that you like their story the best?
I guess I sort of related to Elise the most, because so it's not necessarily like her story arc that I related, that I liked the most, although I did like her story arc, but just she's like what I describe as the sandwich generation. Like, she's dealing with her children and her parents at the same time. And like, people apparently get happier as they get older because like they don't have the pressures of being squeezed on both ends. And I feel right now that like I have aging parents and I have very demanding children, and there's not like, when's it going to be about me, you know? And I think, and so that's something like, not to complain about my life. I'm very lucky to have parents who are still alive, to have children. Like, these are all good things.
Sure.
But I do feel a little bit like I'm just being compressed on both sides, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's very much Elise's story. You know, she's middle-aged and she's like, you know, worrying about her parents, worrying about her children, and very little time left to carve out for herself or to nurture her marriage. And so Elise is really like the character. That's why I started the story from her perspective also.
And that's such a good point that I hadn't thought about, how she's having to manage both generations before and after her, and then what that means on her own life and her own behavior.
Exactly.
That is so clever. Okay, so now I was just wondering if I could ask you a couple things about your sort of literary preferences in terms of, are you a big reader as well as, you know, writing?
I really am a huge reader.
Tell me what you like to read.
I like literary fiction the most. I read almost no nonfiction,
Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like escaping with stories. Nonfiction, I think speaking of like being a holdover from our youth, like when I read a nonfiction book, I feel like there's going to be a quiz at the end, and I have to like be so attentive. Like I tried to read the book Bad Blood about the Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes Theranos story. And it was a really good book, but I kept feeling like if I didn't remember all the details, like I was going to be in trouble.
You would fail.
Exactly. And so I'm like, I prefer fiction. I like historical fiction. So then it kind of combines, like I am learning, but I'm also escaping at the same time. And I don't feel the pressure to like remember that what happened in 1969 and then what happened in 1974 and, you know, that kind of, pressure, like silly pressure I put on myself when I read nonfiction. I tend to write lighter, more fun books, but then I read heavier things.
Really? Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I don't know, actually. I'm very particular about sort of light beach books, and I need them. I want, like the Floating Feldmans for me I was proud of it because I think it's like light and fun, but also has a lot of heart. And I was proud of the writing and I was proud of the character development. And there are definitely like a lot of sort of lighter books that are billed as beach books that I pick up and I can't even get through a chapter. Like they're too down market and I don't like that. And so literary fiction for me, I feel like it stretches me a little bit more. And I recently like told myself I was going to make sure I read 40 pages a day, no matter what.
Yeah. How's that going?
I don't always do it, but I am also an Audible person. So I feel like combined between the reading and the Audible, because I'll do 2 books at a time. Like I am probably getting to 40 pages most days.
That's awesome.
And there's just so much I want to read. And I am like, I like having this sort of arbitrary goal, you know, that I set. And I like hope it sets a good example for the kids, although they don't seem to like read as much as I do at all.
Yeah, they're not big into reading because my son's not either, and it makes me crazy.
No, it makes me so upset. But no. Nope.
I always feel like it's his rebellion because he knows how much I love it.
Yeah, that could be. I haven't thought about that, but it's definitely possible.
Or maybe just there's too many distractions and screens calling their name.
Like the iPod. I mean, granted, like I'm pretty into my phone also. And even when I read, I have my phone right next to me. So, you know, I'm not perfect either.
Do you prefer a real book or do you like audio or digital ebooks?
I really love ebooks. I'm a Kindle person. I feel sort of bad, but I think I'm
sort of bad. Why?
I do, because like bookstores, you know, it's tough for bookstores, but especially for travel or, you know, you can read a free sample. And if you don't, you know, on the ebooks, they'll give you a chapter for free and see if you like it before you buy it. It's lightweight. I like paperbacks. If I'm going to read anything, I really don't like hardcovers. I just feel like that's very uncomfortable. But I do like, they're just too heavy. I always like to take a book with me everywhere I go. So a Kindle is just so much more lightweight if I'm going to throw something in my bag. Yeah, so I'm a Kindle person, but I do buy a lot of coffee table books and I buy books as gifts a lot for people when I go to their house, and I buy children's books. So like I try to do my part for bookstores in that way.
Oh, that's so nice. You're my kind of friend. I need more friends that buy books.
Books that are written by friends of mine also. Like I want to have them on my shelf. So those books I'll actually buy instead of just buying the Kindle.
Whenever you read, do you find it relaxing or do you feel that it's almost distracting because you think maybe what you would do or critical in that way?
Sometimes I find it like if I'm reading something so unbelievable, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I could never be that good.
Aww.
And that's a little like, yeah, I mean, but that's okay. Or maybe like I'm not that good now. And it gives me something to strive for. Sometimes it's frustrating because I'll read a book that's like, I think terrible, but has sold, you know, a bazillion copies. And then I get frustrated. Like, I don't get it. Like, why is this book, you know, flying off the shelf? So I can't really just read without thinking about like the business aspect.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's still enjoyable, but there's always that subtext in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would be the same way. And that would make me crazy if someone had a runaway hit and it was sort of overhyped. That would.
Yes. And it does. It definitely happens, you know, and have a lot of writer friends, and we'll text and be like, what the hell? Like, why is everybody obsessed with that book?
Right. And how do you explain it? Do you think some things just catch on and there's no way to know why?
Yes, I do. I really do. I think there's like unexplained phenomenon.
God, that's the worst.
I do.
Yeah, that would make me crazy. And so, okay, this is your third novel. And are you going to take a minute to like have a break?
Definitely the opposite. I'm working on my fourth novel right now.
God, you're crazy.
And I'm writing a children's book.
Wow.
And I'm also writing a novel with a group of people.
You're kidding me.
I have a lot of projects going right now. I'm pitching some stories too. So I've gotten busier and busier, but my kids are also getting older. I have more free time during the day.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm not busy, then I'm happier when I'm busy.
Yeah. And heck, you say you love it. So why not?
I do. I really love it. I have to be better about turning off and like not looking at my phone or my Amazon rank. Like that's
I totally would do the same thing.
Yes. But like, that's not ideal, but generally I'm not good at turning it off, but I'm obsessing less. The more projects I have, I obsess less because I have many things, to think about. Like if it's just one book, it's just the Floating Feldmans, it's all I would think about, Now I have like 5 or 6 things to obsess over.
I mean, that's pretty great. And I mean, so deserved.
Thank you.
I hope they make the Floating Feldmans into a movie too. Don't you think it would be so good?
I'm hoping. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people have said that to me. And I do have an amazing film agent who works at ICM, and she's phenomenal. And I trust that if anyone can make a deal, it will be her. She's done tremendous book-to-screen deals in the past. But so far, it's only been out for a month. So there's still plenty of time for something to happen. But seems like it would be
it's a no-brainer. It would be so good visually, and then the family dynamic. Come on, this is obvious.
I think so. I really have to agree with you.
Yes. Well, go ahead.
My toes are crossed for that because I can't. I heard it from like over 100 people probably. Like this would be the best movie.
Okay, well then it's going to happen. We're going to manifest that with our little positive thinking.
I hope so.
And I asked you last time, and I'll ask you again, just in case it's different now. What do you keep in the trunk of your car?
Oh, my gosh. Nothing, because I don't drive.
Okay. We probably adjusted it then to a bag. Do you carry a bag?
I carry a bag. I'm super minimal. All I have is a wallet and a phone and nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that intentional, or you just don't need anything else?
I don't need anything else. I'm a very minimal person in general. So I have a very empty closet. I have empty drawers. Like that's just, I'm very, nothing makes me happier than purging and getting rid of things.
Yeah.
So all I do is take a wallet and a phone and nothing else.
So you're not like a what if person. You know how some people think, well, what if?
Not remotely.
Yeah. No.
Nope.
My gosh, I wish I were that laid back. That's amazing.
In that way, I'm very laid back. But it's also because I live in New York City.
Yeah.
If I needed a Band-Aid, I would go to Duane Reade. If I needed more cash, I'd go to the ATM. Or if I needed chapstick.
What about an umbrella?
Oh, I never carry umbrellas because I'm not I don't care about my hair or
my gosh.
that. I'm totally fine to just get wet if I don't carry umbrellas. Almost never. I mean, in a downpour, sure.
My gosh. Wow, I need to be more like you. Yeah. I'm going to make that my goal.
I don't like a heavy bag. It just annoys me. So that's it. Nothing.
All right.
Nothing in my
well,
bag.
I'm going to have to go back and compare it with your other answer. I'm sure it was the same, but...
I've been like this for a long time, so probably.
I've been like this. Okay. You are off the hook. I so enjoyed the Floating Feldmans. I know that our listeners are going to love it too. And we just hope that you keep writing and we do hope that there's a movie going to be made as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Yay. I'm so glad I finally got to chat with you. And I just hope all good things keep coming your way. This podcast podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.